during the early years of the secret call to Islam, which lasted around 3 years. The first companions were reaping the rewards of their deep faith, but these rewards were cloaked in patience and great tragedies due to the harm they suffered from the Quraysh. 1. Khabbab ibn Al-Aratt, may Allah be pleased with him. Khabbab was a simple blacksmith among the Prophet's companions, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. When he believed in Allah and his messenger, he was violently targeted by the polytheists. His torture: he was forced to stand in the scorching sun for long hours, while his back was burdened with heavy, hot iron. This torture was intended to break his will and force him to renounce his faith. But he remained steadfast, not abandoning his faith, drawing strength from the certainty of his heart in the message of the Prophet. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. 2. Bilal ibn Rabah, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the most famous companions and the first muezzin in Islam. He was an Ethiopian slave whose soul was liberated by Islam, and he was an easy target for the polytheists due to his slave origins. The polytheists tied him to the ground, placed a large rock on him, and then tortured him with whips. Their torture was not limited to physical pain, but there was also psychological torture, as they would say to him, "Worship our idols and leave this religion." Bilal stood firm and answered resolutely. 1. His adherence to faith was a source of inspiration for all Muslims at that time. 3. Sumayyah bint Khayyat and her husband, Yasir, may Allah be pleased with them, they were the first martyrs in Islam. Taken for their faith to severe torture, the polytheists tortured them in front of their son, Ammar ibn Yasir, to break the family's faith. Sumayyah endured beatings with swords and spears until they killed her as a martyr, and she became a symbol of women's steadfastness in the face of tyranny. Her husband, Yasir, also suffered harm until he died steadfastly. Their son, Ammar, witnessed this pain and brutality, but his faith did not waver, and he became one of the greatest companions and most loyal to the Prophet. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. In the darkness endured by the first Muslims of Mecca, the light of patience and resilience shone. In their hearts, Khabbab, Bilal, Sumayyah, Yasir, and Ammar ibn Yasir are not just names in history, but icons of steadfastness and beacons of honor that illuminated the path of the call to Islam despite all forms of torture and injustice. Amidst the suffering and trials endured by the early companions, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was their refuge and spirit. He consistently comforted them and urged them to persevere with patience and steadfastness. The Prophet, peace be upon him, felt immense pain when he witnessed his companions suffering and being tortured for the sake of God's religion. He would strengthen their resolve with words that instilled mercy and tranquility in their hearts. He told them numerous times, "Indeed, God is with the patient, and no fatigue, illness, worry, grief, harm, or distress befalls a Muslim, even the prick of a thorn, but that God expiates some of his sins thereby." The Prophet, peace be upon him, reminded them that this ordeal was a test for them, and that God had prepared a great reward for them in the hereafter. In moments of weakness and doubt that might befall any person, the Prophet, peace be upon him, reminded his companions of God's great promise, paradise, divine pleasure, and unending bliss. He told them, "Paradise lies in the shade of swords," meaning that patience in the face of adversity and sacrifice is the path to winning paradise. He assured them that their patience in enduring torture and harm for the sake of God was not just fleeting patience, but rather a testimony that would raise their rank with God and make them among the inhabitants of eternal bliss. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would sit with his companions, listen to their pains and worries, comfort them with his noble morals and wisdom, and urge them to remain steadfast and not give up. He told them, "Do not grieve, for God's relief is near, and indeed, with hardship comes ease." He reassured them that this darkness would dissipate and that the light of Islam would spread throughout the world. The companions' faith and sacrifices were supported by a deep belief in the messenger of God, peace be upon him, who did not leave them alone to face trials, but was with them in heart and soul, giving them hope and peace and promising them a paradise as vast as the heavens and earth in return for their patience and steadfastness. All these companions lived in difficult times of torment, but they did not lose their faith. Rather, their trials increased their strength and firmness. Their faith stemmed from a deep conviction that Allah was with them and that this tribulation was a temporary stage before victory. If you enjoyed this episode and want to continue the journey with us, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Your support helps us share these stories with the world.